Oh, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. I, of course, am Mr. Warren Hayes, and we are all gathered here once again to get all the feels and the movements and the whatever you want to call it in regards to the wacky wild world of professional wrestling. Thank you very much for being here. It is Thursday, February 3rd. Now, February is the best month of the year. If you there's good reasons for this that maybe will come up eventually, but February is generally the best month of the year for your boy Mr. Warren Hayes. However, it's my birthday month, to be honest. Like, I'll just go out and say it. So it's a month that always feels nice and cozy and very comfy for me. Now, unfortunately, the month of November starts off on a really, really weird spot for me this year, because I like to be transparent. I like to talk about things with you. I have a canker sore. I've had canker sores since I've been very, very small. As a child, just went through it. You know, my mother would take me to the doctors, and she was like, "Look, what can you do? He's in pain. He can't eat my spaghetti sauce without it stinging." And never got a real proper solution for it. And I currently have one, and it's been a while since I've had one. As I got older, I didn't get them as much as when I was a kid. But currently, I have one on the side of my tongue, like a little towards the back, rubbing up against my molars. And I gotta tell you, it's uncomfortable. It's not great. So why am I telling you this? You know, because first of all, it's kind of disgusting to have someone, start talking about, sores they have in their mouths when you're expecting them to talk about, like, how terrible the Royal Rumble was this year. Sort of. I'm saying this because I apologize in advance if my, if my articulation seems a little off, like I'm swishing around a little more than maybe usual. I'm trying to compensate for, the searing pain that occurs when I try to pronounce certain words. And that's when you realize, I'm telling you, the one thing that I have come to realize by having, being afflicted with canker sores over the years is I've grown to understand how crucial one's tongue is in the use of language. Like, I really, really have. I've become very self-conscious about it to a certain degree. Anyway, now I don't think canker sores equate to views, though. But thank you for being so kind. In the meantime, as I try not to chase off, whoever else is watching right now, I want to thank you all for joining me here live tonight. Again, recording Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific. 6 Pacific, 8 Central. Shout out to all my homies out in the Midwest representing. I want to thank you all. I want to thank everyone who's here tonight again, because since we're doing this live on youtube.com/MrWarrenHayes, that means that we do have a live crowd of people who are joining us, being a part of the festivities. Like our friend of the show, classic, Tim Traver, the Diecast Collective. Nice to see you, Tim. Welcome to the chat. We've also got Heather, who's here. Nice to see you. Kelly Tonjes and Robert Larry. Nice to see all of you straight out the gate, per usual. The opposite would frighten me if that wouldn't be the case. Who else we got? We've got, fifth generation Carney Joseph with it. Good to see you. Welcome, Sir Jermaine Presley as well. Anakin JMT is here too. And we've also got Mr. Frets, who continues to be a member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel. 20 months. Coming up to your 2-year anniversary, pal. Thank you so much for 20 months of support. And he dropped us this great bit of information about himself. It says, big news, student loans paid off, baby. Congratulations. I know the feeling. Bravo, sir. Shout out to you if you're in the chat. Give him a thumbs up in the chat. Don't press any letters. Do a little work. Get an emoji out. A thumbs up, any kind of emoji. But that's fantastic, Frets. I still remember the day that I remember the day that I paid my loans off as fondly as the day my children were born. Maybe not as fondly, but it's the same type of good serotonin rush. I'll tell you that thing. I'll tell you what. But thank you very much for that tidbit, and thank you for being a supporter. Great membership for 20 months. Thank you, sir. We've also got Chris Jacobs. Chris Jacobs was in the house. Nice to see you. William Davis. Nice to see you too. Supersonic X, which I believe is Injection 2K, right? Good to see you, pal. Welcome to the chat. Ronan Ghost. Ooh, not only is he a ghost, but he is a Ronin ghost, a ghost of Ronin. Like he's a samurai without a master, plus he's dead. Nice to see you. And stick around, Ronin Ghost. I will answer that question a little later on because it is a good one. It is a good one. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. Mr. Warren Hayes right here, youtube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes. Leave a like, subscribe, why don't you? Or at least, look, I always like to say, I like to think that I earn your subscriptions, that, after I do a podcast, or maybe even on your favorite podcast application, like a follow or whatever, or put me in your favorites lists, whatever it is. Thank you. I hope that I deserve, that I'm worthy of your subscription, because notifications are precious, man. That being said, I really, if you do want to subscribe, I'm very humbled. Thank you very much. And if you, if you're listening on your favorite podcast application, because yes, the Mr. Warren Hayes Show is available in audio format on your favorite podcast application, well, why don't you give us a like, a thumbs up, a review? Leave us, look, Apple Podcasts, you do the reviews. Like, okay, on Spotify, you can do the 5-star thing. If you're still on Spotify after that whole Joe Rogan nonsense, right? So you can leave ratings on Spotify right now, which would be cool. You can just drop a 5 ratings there. Apple Podcasts, you can leave a review. I suggest leave a 5-star review about canker sores. You can go right into Apple Podcasts, write up a little review. Tell us, give us a 5-star review about canker sores. Whatever. There's something inherently funny to me when people are leaving like 5-star reviews on podcasts, and in the description on their review, it has nothing to do with the podcast and about itself. I think that's funny. I really enjoy that. But I'm easily amused at the same time. But thank you very much for, and these are very, very simple, quick ways to show support for the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. I really appreciate it. Let's see what else. Belltobells.com, BELLTOBELLEES.com. Kristen Ashley, our editor-in-chief over there at Bell to Bells, who just happens also to be the editor-in-chief of my heart. She's back in the saddle. She's warming some things up. She's getting ready. There's going to be some stuff coming out the gate very soon, so go check it out. Belltobells.com. Our YouTube channel, youtube.com/belltobells. Still there as well. Still got all those tons of great interviews out there that I've conducted quite a bit. Just putting that out there, but also some fantastic other wrestling luminaries who collaborated with us. Lots of great stuff over there. Plus, twitter.com/bell2bells. Follow us everywhere. I've also got a shop on What a Maneuver. The Mr. Warren Hayes show has a t-shirt shop over on whatamaneuver.net. I have ordered a t-shirt. I have ordered a t-shirt from there, so eventually I will be wearing my It's a Fun Match You Guys t-shirt right here, so I can show it off to you guys, so you can be like, wow, Warren is so handsome in that t-shirt. I can probably be as handsome as he is. But yeah, if you want to have a nice quality cotton t-shirt, go right ahead. Whatamaneuver.com. What.net, excuse me. Look for Mr. Warren Hayes. And hey, by the way, don't forget, there's a Discord. We hang out there all week. We talk wrestling. It's a good time. Sometimes I stream things in the middle of the night that make Anakin very scared. The links in the description if you want to come join our fantastic community. For real, it's a good time, good people. Lots of great wrestling talk all week. Come join us. It'll be a good time. And don't forget also to become a member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel. That's a great way to show some support, just like Mr. Fretz a little earlier. You become a member, and that gives you access to the post stream that I do exclusively for Mr. Warren Hayes Show members. We gather around, we chat wrestling. I interact with the chat, we interact with the chat, and we take calls from the Discord as well. Tonight, I'm so jacked over some wrestling matches that happened this week. I'm like, I want to hear about about your favorite matches from the month of January. There's already been some fantastic stuff. I want to hear what you guys like. What was your favorite match? Could be like a 5-star classic. Could be just like a match that, just hit at the right place. Hit you in the right place, right? It could be that. That's what I want us to talk about tonight. So I want to hear from you guys. And you become a member. You jump in. Join us in the Discord. Join us in the YouTube live chat. Whatever. We just sit around and chat. And it is a good time. So come and join us. It's a good way to support the show. Just like it's another good way to support the show is to leave a super chat, and I will read your question or comment mood on the air. Such as Anakin, who left us a super chat. Thank you very much, Anakin. He says, for your canker sore, do what Tom Hanks did for his cavity and cast. No. No. I couldn't even finish this. He says, for your canker sore, do what Tom Hanks did for his cavity and Castaway. No. Like the best thing I can do is gargle with salt water, and like really, really salty, but then it's also painful as hell. And then I try to put like some, not antiseptic. What's the word I'm looking for? Something to soothe the pain. Anesthetic, like an anesthetic gel, pretty, almost doesn't hurt. Jeez Louise. DGMC's in the chat as well. Good to see everyone. Before we get on to the weekly wrestling inspection, of course, well, you know what's up. I have to keep up with my my yearly resolution. So, ladies and gentlemen, here is another thing that I'm going to say. Another nice thing that I'm about to say about Bill Goldberg, because in this segment that I like to call 52 Nice Things About Bill Goldberg.
Warren Hayes has 52 nice things to say.
Oh, shoot. Hang on. Let's try this again.
Warren Hayes has 52 nice things to say about Goldberg.
I commend him for his love of motorcycles, because that way we can all rest assured that he's not frequently punching through car windows.
Warren Hayes has 52 nice things to say about Goldberg.
Yeah, he's Bill Goldberg's a nice guy, right? Wait, no, that's two nice things. I got to keep that one for next week. let's move on to the weekly wrestling inspection. Well, look at that. It's Matt Ritter, who's in the chat of the Smackin' It Raw podcast. Number one wrestling, the biggest, the best, the number one wrestling podcast on Pornhub. I always give it a moment for that one to sink in. Hey, oh boy. I'm excited for this. Oh, look at that. And Pretty Kyle from the Apron Bump podcast. Yeah. Nice to see you. And look at that, we got a super chat as well. Okay, before we get into the Royal Rumble stuff, because that's what I'm going to start with. Let's see what Mr. Fretz left us a super chat. Thank you very much, Fretz. He says, is this going to be a book like Jordan Grace's DMs? A book? Look, I don't know. Maybe. That's actually good. I hadn't thought of any, like some posterity to it. I could make a little coffee book table, or what if I did what if it was one of these weekly calendars, that's a little notepad, and then on every week you pull off, you get something nice that's being said about Bill Goldberg. Hey, Frats, you're giving me some food for thought here. You're giving me some food for thought. I'm going to think about this a little more now. Okay. Okay, well, look, we'll get this out of the way, okay? We'll talk about it now. It'll be out of the way, out of sight, out of mind. Anakin JMT left us a super chat again. Thank you very much, Anakin. I appreciate it. He says, what about his last match on his contract will be on a show you won't be watching, so you won't have to see it. You should thank him. You'll skip it. Because apparently there was a report, right? Fightful Select, just a few minutes before I popped on here, that was saying that, the plan, it was reported a couple of weeks, or I think Bill Goldberg said it himself, that he had one match left on his contract, right? And guess what, folks? We're going to Saudi, so we're going to drag our boy Bill over there, right? And, because, money. That'll probably be his last match, and I'm fine with that. And you're right. This is a nice way for Bill to say, here you go, Warren. You don't have to watch me wrestle on my last match. I mean, it's the last match on his contract. You'll notice that he says it's the last match on my contract. He's not saying I'm retiring. And that's two very different ways. He'll probably renegotiate something. And in case you're wondering, so what do you mean you're going to skip it, Warren? I don't watch the Saudi shows. I don't cover them here either, for multiple reasons. So thank you, Bill Goldberg. Thank you so much. Hey, Alonzo Smith, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. So I didn't put out the occasional poll this week to what do you want me to start talking about? Because I want to start by talking about the Royal Rumble, because then I want to move on to talking about fun things. I did run a poll though, an audience poll before, as everything was warming up, and I was asking people, thumbs up, thumbs down. Which did you prefer? Thumbs up or thumbs down? How did you like the Royal Rumble? Jesus Christ. How did you like the Royal Rumble 2022? 64% of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show live viewing audience gave it a thumbs down, while 34% gave it a thumbs up. So overall, we're like, nope. For me, the show was a big nope. One of the worst Rumble matches in Royal Rumble history. On top of that, I look, instead of, editorializing, let's go right ahead and start talking about it. The first match we got was the WWE Universal title, where Seth Rollins Roman Reigns retained his Universal Championship against Seth Rollins. This was actually really, really fun until the finish, which I thought deflated it a little bit, but it's so hard for WWE to just give us a finish, right? Because everyone has to be protected all the time, right? Everyone all the time has to be protected constantly. There was great heat off the gate. You're sort of like, why is Roman being introduced first? That's because Seth was in the riot gear, came out with the Shield theme song, came in through the crowd. The crowd was, God damn. And here's the thing. I don't know how much we've talked about how amazingly hot this crowd was for like the first match and for a good portion of the Women's Royal Rumble, and then their energy levels just dipped. But this crowd, and I think it's a testament to how this pay-per-view, this PLE went forward when you had such an energetic live crowd that was just eating up everything you were giving them. It was just like scoop, gang, gang. And they were just eating it up. And then somehow you managed to completely lose them. It's wild to me. Anyway. Seth we got some great stuff. Seth powerbombing Roman through commentary. Commentary calling it a shield bomb. Now we gotta step back a little bit here. We gotta relax a little. Don't call it a shield bomb because you need the 3 guys to do it. It's just a regular run-of-the-mill powerbomb that he did, okay? Take it easy, commentary. Did you notice at some point, Pat McAfee, refers to the Shield, as Seth, Roman, and Mox, right? Which is pretty cool. But sometime after that, when Michael Cole is talking about commentary, about the Shield, he calls him Dean Ambrose. I don't know if you noticed that. I don't know if it was an audible that Vince called or I don't know, but it was pretty interesting. We get a buckle bomb from Seth, a stomp as well. Roman kicks out of it. And I've watched enough WWE programming to know that this sort of telegraphed the ending, right? And I was like, well. Although they got me. I mean, the drama in this match was really good. And the pace of this match was fantastic. It's just like going all out super quick, hitting big moves. Like, okay, this rules. Roman throws Seth around, goes for a spear. He's countered by a pedigree. Reigns hits a spear on top, and then Rollins is like on the ground, right? And he's offering him a shield fist bump, and he's laughing, in that really annoying laughter thing that he does. Reigns puts on the guillotine choke, and he refused to let go when Seth got to the ropes. So, Lil Nate called for the DQ, and it started off strong, but I kind of feel like the ending didn't do the match justice. I think we could have gotten a stronger, more impressive. I don't mind Roman winning. I don't. Just like give us something that you can go, that you can chew on, that you can feed me, just like you were feeding that audience. I'm not doing that again. Anyway, I thought it was a good start. I was like, oh, okay, this is promising. Women's Royal Rumble then happened. But look, it's a mixed bag for me. I didn't think it was bad. I didn't think it was great either, because I think that since they started doing Rumble matches for the women, this was the weakest. And I think we all know why this was the weakest, because they fired everyone. It got me to a point that I was believing reports that Oksana was going to be in this match. And I was like, Jesus. I was believing it. Oh, yeah. DGMC left us a super chat. Thank you very much. DGMC, he says, Roman, Seth at the Rumble. they're booking better than their booking since 2015. Yeah, okay. I know you like to meme about stuff, so I don't know how serious you are, but I think it's a fair argument. There's something in there, maybe aside. Yeah. It was really good. Sasha Banks comes in at number 1. She was announced for the Rumble the night before on SmackDown. And Melina comes in at number 2. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh shit, they're bringing out the big guns with Sasha straight off the bat, right? And Sasha, you've all seen it by now. The Sailor Moon cosplay, my God, man. See, honestly, we are all just living in Sasha's world. I hope you all realize this by now. We're all just, specks of dust amidst the galaxy that is Sasha Banks. Anyway, they get Melina in, let's get the nostalgia, the first of the nostalgia acts. This is what I'm going to remember, by the way, about the Royal Rumble 2022. It was a nostalgia act. That's really what it was, right? So, look, Melina gets eliminated straight off the bat. And then, like I said, there's a whole... Tamina comes in next with Kelly Kelly. Kelly Kelly does a head scissors on Tamina, but she slips off. Like, she's not able to really complete it. But Tamina sells it anyway. I'm like, all right, come on now. I understand that Tamina is very, very well liked. She's got tenure and everybody loves her backstage, apparently. But, you released Tegan Knox. You didn't release, but you couldn't figure out what to do with Toni Storm, right? This is what happens, right? And then we get this anticlimactic elimination of Sasha Banks by Zelina Vega, right? And she's like, let me check my notes here. Yeah, she gets eliminated. That's it. She gets eliminated by Sasha fairly early on. And your other big star in this match, because where are your big... Okay, let's... Sasha, Charlotte, Bianca... Who else is a big star in the women's division, right? That you could, and they're throwing Sasha Banks, who, in my opinion, is the best of the 4 horsewomen when it comes to pure work, right? When it comes to in-ring prowess, she is the top of the 4. I'm like, let's go, and she is a legit superstar. She's a channel changer. But they take her out super early. And Bianca comes in within the top 10, right? Something like that. And she gets dumped out unceremoniously, doesn't have any moments, doesn't have anything special. I understand last year that Summer Rae. I'm not getting into that. I understand. Actually, I will get into that. But give me a second here. Y'all are derailing my podcast. I mean that lovingly. Like, just anticlimactic eliminations for arguably the biggest stars you have in your women's division, right? Otherwise, everything was filled up to create that buzz, to create that sense that something was going on. All the nostalgia acts, the Bellas, which is fun. Like, I'm not a Bella hater, and I don't hate on any of these women. That's not the point, and that's not what I want to get across. It's just, the most of the Royal Rumble, not most, but nearly half of the Royal Rumble was comprised of women who haven't been wrestling in WWE either for a year, a few months in the case of Mickie James, or years. You know, Cameron again was in this match, and I'm saying to myself, well, at least Cameron doesn't have to try to pin anyone in this match. Kelly Michelle McCool. You know, you have that fun Ivory spot. Like, that was fun, because there's always that fun little spot. And Ivory coming in with her right to censor gimmick and cutting the promo on the women that they're all little girls, and then she gets tossed by Rhea. Fun. But that's it. It's like it's all nostalgia, right? It's just... And yes, look here. You want to call Summer Rae a legend? Go right ahead. Go absolutely ahead. If you want, WWE has a Hall of Fame in which Tori Wilson is inducted. Okay, nothing against Tori Wilson or her contributions to the sport of pro wrestling when she was around, but that's whatever she did. Does not constitute a Hall of Fame induction into any Hall of Fame. Like, she's not a wrestling Hall of Famer. She's a WWE Hall of Famer for sure. So Summer Rae, absolutely a WWE Hall of Famer. I have no qualms with that. Not Hall of Famer, legend. Go ahead, call her a WWE legend, because in their vernacular, it fits. But if you want to speak to someone who lives outside the WWE bubble, you know, watches a lot of wrestling and has been watching a lot of wrestling for years, maybe we could use a softer term than legend to describe Summer Rae. Just saying. So your big stars are all being tossed out, right? Unceremoniously. Liv Morgan, right? Now this is the point where I'm going to come here and I'm going to sit down. Well, I'm already sitting down, but I'm going to tell you all, and I'm going to tell it to myself as well, because it's time that I come to grips with it myself. That Liv Morgan is not a big deal. Folks, she's not a big deal, and management does not see her as a big deal either. Okay? They put her in this program with Becky, which I think was an ungrateful thing to do. I don't think she was ready for that spot. I don't think she should have been put in that spot. It was very, very an ungrateful situation to be put in. And look, audience is behind her. She's got an organic fan base. And I know people in WWE realize this, but look at that. She gets dumped out. Again, unceremoniously. No big moment for Liv. I'm not saying she should have won, but she's got nothing. She's got nothing to show for it. There's nothing that happened in this match. And that's a problem with this match, is nothing happened. It really was. The current women, picking some... Look, couple of feuds that were picked in here, like the Naomi Sonya Deville feud is continuing, and I like that. I like how they did this, with Cameron coming in, commentary reminding us that, oh, well, Naomi and Cameron used to be friends, tag team, whatever. And then Sonya causes Naomi to be, causes Naomi to be distracted because Naomi was helping out Cameron or whatever. Like, it is what it is, right? They continued that feud, and even though we still don't understand why Sonya hates Naomi so much, at least it's a mid-card feud for the women that doesn't involve titles and that actually has some heat behind. But you have to start cranking that one up too, because it's a boy. But I mean, like, nothing happened in this match, is what I'm trying to say. Just nothing. Let me see what I wrote down here as far as notes go. I said Rhea Ripley got a good reaction, and that's always good. I liked Naomi's elimination, where Sonya stopped Naomi from doing her creative save, you know? I thought that was cool. I liked how Brie Bella got some yes chants. That was cool. Mickie James, of course, coming out to the Knockouts Championship and Hardcore Country, her theme song, which apparently was it's a big deal. Good for her, because that's a payday for her. On top of that, it's her song. Like, she composed it, right? She wrote it, so she's getting some royalties. Good for her. Mickie James, at the very least, in all the, and this is weird to say, you can't really call Mickie James a nostalgia act overall, but that's probably how she's perceived. Well, we know that's how she's perceived in WWE, because she was put into the Legends group before she got fired with a trash bag, right? So at least in her case, like, she was in there for a good amount of time. I think she got one elimination. Yeah, she eliminated Michelle McCool, right? So, I mean, not terrible. WWE legend Summer Rae with the now infamous fuck you to Natalya as she's coming down the ring. Not very PG. I can get behind that. Sarah Logan was a shock for me, and then, had the moment with Liv. That's really the only moment Liv had outside of her, outside of the required Rumble entrance moment where you slap a few people around and then you get lost in the pile. Liv was lost in the pile for the entire match. Sarah Logan comes in, they share a look, and then Sarah gets dumped. And Lita comes in. I'm disappointed. I'm going to fast forward a little bit. I'm disappointed that I promise I'm not going to spend 15 minutes on this. I promise. But I'm disappointed that Lita is going to Saudi Arabia. I tweeted it out, and I'm going to go full on it. Like, I put that out as a tweet, and a very mild tweet where I just said pretty much what I told you here. I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed in Lita that she's going to Saudi Arabia, because she is someone who has positioned herself as a fighter for women's rights in wrestling. She's talked about multiple times how she's had to, because she was a woman, she had to fight twice as hard. All the shit that WWE had her do. She was not comfortable doing the Edge sex celebration. Like, she's on the record for all of this. She's, always saying that, she consciously wore gear that went against what was expected of her to wear, kind of thing, So I'm very, 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 very disappointed that she's deciding to step on whatever she was telling us previous to this and going to get, quote unquote, that bag in Saudi Arabia, which still has major inequalities as far as women's rights go in the country. Terrible. There's still guardianship laws. Guardianship laws meaning that your women have to ask their husband to get permission for a whole bunch of stuff. I know things are not as severe as maybe 5 years ago, but there are still, activism in Saudi Arabia doesn't exist. Activism is suppressed. Activists are imprisoned. They're tortured. The men and women who fought for the right for women to drive, to get a driver's license in Saudi Arabia, even though that is now a thing, the activists are still in jail. Some of them are still being tortured in jail. This has been documented. And I don't know if you know this. Well, it's not like I think it's something that becomes clear. I don't want to sound like I'm talking down to anyone, and I apologize for that. I shouldn't have. Let me take it another way. If you take a moment to think about it, true societal change is never gifts from those in power. It's never a gift. It's never given to you in whatever way you're trying to change things. It's always through activism. It's always through protest. It's always through raising your voice and getting the establishment to change. Because there is nothing that power despises more than change. Because change can create an imbalance in their power. They can lose power over certain things, and once you are in power, you just don't want things to stay how they are. So everything, the civil rights movement in the United States, so on and so forth, everything that we have been able to change for the better in North America has all been through the right to protest peacefully, right? Right to assembly, right to be able to voice your opinions and organize and protest decisions in your government. The Saudi government do they not allow it, it's criminally it's criminally chargeable, right? You can be sent to jail for voicing your opinion. And I see tweets saying, oh, well, if it, maybe there's this one girl in the audience who will see Lita and say everything is possible. But she's in a regime that will tell her that not everything is possible. And if she tries to do the impossible, they might just lock her up. Change in Saudi Arabia is not going to happen with, nice smiling handshakes and fun wrestling shows and gift baskets for everyone at the end. That's not how it happens. That's never how change in any society happens. And essentially, and I'm talking about women's rights, but let's not even talk about gay or lesbian, trans rights. They're non-existent. In fact, it's all criminally. These are all criminal offenses as well. What WWE does essentially, and don't forget this isn't WWE just going in, and working with like some local businesses to set up shop. They're working with the government. They are directly working with an oppressive, militaristic government. So, look, we can go far and wide on this one. Very, very deep. But it's for these reasons that I'm really disappointed in Lita, Amy Dumas. Because she truly had the opportunity to... It's a dissonance, a profound dissonance to what she's been championing for years, to be doing this. And I'm disappointed. So I'm not telling you guys can do whatever you want. What I do here is I voice, I take the time to voice my opinions and give impressions on how things are being handled in the world of wrestling. And this is one where I'm disappointed. And people every day do things that disappoint me. So it's one among many. I'm not going to lose any sleep on it, but at least you know why I'm disappointed. But I wasn't disappointed to see Mighty Molly come out and then after that get beat up by Nikki Ash. Was a villainous superhero, so a super villain at that point. So, And then, oh Lord, we had heard the rumors, I was memeing, but it happened. The baddest woman on the planet, Ronda Rousey, arrives to save us all. Oh, that was a joke. Because I have very strong opinions about Ronda Rousey as well. Here's the thing. Here is the thing with Rhonda, is that I'm not surprised that WWE is doing this, because they're in a whole different mode right now. And if you listen to the earnings call, which maybe we'll get into towards the end of the show, if you listen to the earnings call today, they're like, oh yeah, we're doing pop culture partnerships, and we've got these people crossover stars who want to come on WWE. It's like, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised she came in. I'm not surprised she came because, clearly they feel that the women's division isn't drawing. Why isn't the women's division drawing? Well, I can give you two reasons. They're not pushing new stars, and the new stars they could have been making, they decided to fire them. So it's like, let's call in Rhonda then. Let's bring her in. Now, everything I'm going to say has nothing to do with the fact that she is a recent mother, that she is baby is 4 months old, 5 months old, something like a very young baby still. What she is doing physically is impressive. I've got nothing to say against it. That I am not making even the slightest correlation between the two. I will say this: if she considers herself ready to come back and compete and get into a WWE ring and do some WWE style wrestling, she's got to do two things for me. She's got to do two things. She's got to look good doing it, because slow as hell, horrible punches. But Warren, yes, Warren, she wasn't necessarily in the training rooms before coming to the Royal Rumble. Then why wasn't she training before coming to the Rumble? My God, that doesn't make any sense. I've heard this has been a counter argument that was given to me. Oh, maybe they called her up quickly. They didn't call her up quickly. They don't have Rhonda on speed dial. She's not a contracted WWE wrestler. She's on a completely different level of contract for them. She's short-term, she's part-time, she's got Brock Lesnar-like contracts. So they don't call her last minute. This has been being planned, set up, talked about for a while. This isn't like, 1 week before. This isn't like The Undertaker, where they could call up The Undertaker anytime because Undertaker's under contract. This was set up. This has been planned for a while. So maybe she should have been hitting the PC a little bit, or whatever, wherever she wants to train, right? That's one thing. The second thing, Jesus fucking Christ, Rhonda, give us some energy. Give us something. Show us that you're at least happy to be there. Because I have not seen anyone more miserable to be in a WWE ring as Ronda Rousey was on Saturday and on Monday for the main event segment on Raw. Absolutely miserable. She did no energy, no spark, just nothing. But Warren, she is heel. She is supposed to. Even heels have energy. No heel comes in looking despondent, disconnect, uninterested to be there. This was breaking anything that her character, or as a heel, should be, if she is a heel, because I don't know anymore when it comes to, if they have her feud with Charlotte, who's the heel? If they have her feud with Becky, who's the heel? I don't know. And the audience doesn't know either. So just the complete, absolute lack of energy. And here's something, okay? If you even wanted proof at the level of disinterest, oh, well, there you go. J.K. Schwal left us a super chat. Again, thank you very much, J.K. Schwal. I'm just talking about it right now because I was literally segueing into that. It's his thoughts on Rhonda's backstage promo. Let's do it. The backstage promo she gave after the Rumble for the social media, where she's just like, And who is it? What's the name of the mic stand that was talking to her? Kenzie? Is that the one? The newer blonde one. I can't remember it. Is it Kenzie? Anyway, the interviewer's there, and she sort of leads into a question, which isn't really a question, it's a statement, and Rhonda's like, oh, that. She sort of gives a half answer, and she said, well, that's not really a question, it's a statement, though. And you're like, Jesus Christ. Sarah Schreiber, excuse me. And I was like, Jesus, woman. What are you doing? And says, you must be excited to win the Royal Rumble. Well, you know, and she literally says in that backstage promo, she literally says, I'm going to go back to my trailer now to be with my baby because that's all that matters right now. She just won the Royal Rumble. Royal Rumble is unironically everyone's favorite premium live event. Like, legitimately, I have not met a single person who outright says, I hate the Royal Rumble. They might say, it's not as good as it used to be, so on and so forth. But everyone is like, Rumble season is fun. The Rumble is usually fun. And we get to the point where it's like, we're excited for the person who wins because they're going to WrestleMania. It's the dream of every wrestler to be in the main event of WrestleMania. And Ronda Rousey's like, I just want to go in my trailer. Besides, you know, nothing matters outside my kid. Which, kudos to her. Kudos because I look, you get children and it changes your perspective on so much shit. And I agree. There's nothing that matters more than my kids. But you're in character right now. You're in kayfabe. You're putting on a show for the company that is paying you, you know, probably a ridiculous sum of money to come fake fight for us. At the very least, you could show some energy. You could show some gratitude. Just like, fuck yeah, I won the Royal Rumble. Maybe not fuck yeah, but it's like, fudge yeah, I won the Royal Rumble. First time I've done it. I always wanted to win the Royal Rumble. I'm really glad that I did it. But no, she looks like a fucking Hot Topic employee and she's acting like one. She looks like a barista who just prepared like 6 really complex coffee orders in a row and is just completely mentally sapped and checked out. It's bullshit. Bullshit. And it was just as bad on Monday with that fucking judo takedown that she did on Becky, and then the way she was holding the arm. It's as if she was holding her baby's arm. There was no pressure on it. There's nothing. I'm like, look, if you don't want to be here, that's fine, because I don't want to see you either. I don't like Ronda Rousey for multiple reasons. So if you want to hit the bricks, lady, hit the bricks. But if I'm being put on national television, I'm going to act more like Johnny Knoxville than Ronda Rousey. I'll tell you that much. And you want to see, let me get through a couple of super chats here before we get too far here. Anakin left us a couple. First of all, Anakin, first super chat. Thank you again, Anakin. It says, Sasha's elimination was especially weird with that video package. That's right. We got before the men's rumble. What was the point of it in the first place? I don't think they know what's going on. But look, we're going to talk about what happened in the men's Royal Rumble. I can only imagine what was going on for the women, at the same time. Like, none of this there was no direction here. It was all bullshit. And then Anakin left us another super chat. Thank you very much. She says, DGMC and I disappoint you on a daily basis. Well, you see, there you go. But at least you guys stick to your goal. You stick to your guns. Anakin, you have your opinions and whatnot. And And DGMC has all the memes. There you go. And AK Germany, 9-month member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. Thank you very much. AK Germany says, hello, does 9 months make me a nostalgia addict? Nope. No, sir, not just yet. You're still too fresh to be a legitimate nostalgia addict. It's good to see you. Thank you very much for being a member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel for 9 months. Anyway, Shotzi comes in like in the last few, and she everyone just gets dumped out without doing anything of any consequence, right? So you see, ultimately, what I think this shows, it expresses a problem with the women's division if they feel that they can't even lean on Bianca or Sasha to get some big reactions, get the people involved in it. Well, what are we even doing? Because clearly we're not getting a women's elimination chamber. Clearly. So what are they doing with, what are they going to do with Bianca? What are they going to do with, the rest of the people? The rest of the women? I spoke quite a bit just on this, so I'm going to skim over a few things here. WWE Raw Women's title, Becky Lynch defended successfully against Doudrop. I thought this match was fine. Yeah, was it a pay-per-view level match? No, but I think they delivered. I think there was 2 problems to why this match came across as not great for a lot of people. First and foremost, no fucking heat. No heat to this match whatsoever. Just like absolutely no heat. Who do I cheer for? First of all, they're both heels, right? So who does the audience get behind? And it's not as if Doudrop had been on this great winning streak beforehand. She ate it against Bianca just a couple of weeks before she got into this position. So how are we supposed to consider that Bianca, that Doudrop is a legitimate contender for Becky's title if Bianca, the woman who lost within like 30 seconds against Becky, defeated her? Like, how are we supposed to make that correlation? There's no heat because no one was heated up for this match because it's another, it's her turn. Let's just, these interchangeable title defenses without anyone getting heated up. No build. But on top of that, the WrestleMania sign was on fire and everyone had their attention directed towards that. So, there you go. There's one thing that this experience also taught me on Twitter is that there legitimately are a lot of very new / young wrestling fans who sometimes miss certain elements in regards to WWE, because I did see people tweeting out like, why did they go on with the match if the WrestleMania sign is melting and they're evacuating the audience? I'm like, dude, a wrestler fell to his death in a WWE ring and Vincent Kennedy McMahon said the show must go on. Yeah. So it ain't gonna be a little WrestleMania sign that's going to put a stop to anything. I get it. It's not necessarily WWE's responsibility. Like, it's, there's a lot of moving parts here. I'm not saying that they should have. They could have waited for the people who had to get evacuated to sit back down. They really could have, but no. So, but that's it. It's like, I'm not surprised. Anakin left another super chat. Jeez, Anakin, thank you very much. He says there was heat during the match, but not in the ring. Exactly. A little too much heat on the other place. Anyway, Becky hits a Molly go round in this match, which I thought was pretty dope. But why was she surprised? Why a wrestler this is starting to turn into a little bit of a pet peeve for me. Why do wrestlers sometimes look surprised when they land a move? It doesn't happen a lot, but when it does, I'm like, well, what were you expecting? It's like, were you climbing up on the top rope to saying to yourself, hey, you know what? I'm going to try this move that I'm not entirely sure I'm going to hit. And I might just fuck up and I might just injure myself or injure the other person or both. Like, why did you go, I hit it? It's like, of course you hit it. The Nick Nutter is in the chat. Nice to see you, Nicholas Nutter. Thank you for being here. WWE title match. Bobby Lashley defeated Brock Lesnar to become the WWE champion. Now here, look. How much did WWE put into this match, into hyping it? And they did it the right way. 20 years in the making. Have never met in the ring, similar paths, similar career paths, but have never fought each other. This is a dream match that longtime fans have been, and absolutely, this is kind of like the Royal Rumble match in and by itself. I didn't meet anyone who was like, you know what? I am not stoked for Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar. There's history. There's something here that you're like, yeah, this is exciting. Let's do this. But in pure WWE fashion, instead of giving us a match, the match that you'd want, the match that resonates with something that should have happened 20 years ago, that people have been expecting, that people were always clamoring for. Oh, now that Lashley's back in WWE, we'll finally get the Brock match, so on and so forth. And you give it, and you fuck it up. Because you want Brock to look too strong, and then you want to do this wacky finish so that Brock stays strong and Lashley becomes a champion because you need Brock for WrestleMania. It's all bullshit. This is a case of World Wrestling Entertainment not following through on something that you, the fan, wanted. You did not want a wonky Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman's on his side finish. You wanted a clear-cut winner out of one of the legitimate long-time questions. Who would win in a match? Bobby Lashley or Brock Lesnar? And it's, oh, but Warren, they'll do the rematch. They probably won't. And if they do, you know what's going to happen. Brock is going to win. Like it's spoiled now. You know, you can't recapture the magic of that first time. Trust me. Hey, yo, Big T. Welcome to the chat. Nice to see you. I don't have much to say about Beth Phoenix and Edge defeating Maryse and Miz. I didn't care. I didn't care throughout the entire build to this match. It just... Nothing about this resonated. Nothing about this made it interesting. I'm sorry. I didn't care about it. The last third of the match was fun. And this was lots of, this is as close as an intergender match as you'll ever get in WWE. Just as close as it'll ever get. And then the stagnant pool of dormant, lifeless water that was the Men's Royal Rumble 2022 starts off with AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura. And I'm like, damn. Wrestle Kingdom 10 was 16 years ago at this point. No, not 16 years ago. 6 years ago. What was Wrestle Kingdom this year? 16? It's crazy when you think about it. And here's how I went in my notes. And I retranscribed a few notes here because my Royal Rumble notes were very messy. Because as you know, I'm back to doing the notebooks. So I have my Royal Rumble notes and they're a little messy. So so I'm looking through everything that happened when everything started. So I'm like, oh, okay, AJ came in, then Austin Theory, then Robert Roode, Ridge Holland, Montez Ford, okay, Damian Priest, Sami Zayn. Oh, then Johnny Knoxville comes in, and then he starts striking on Sami and on Styles, and this was the first fucking highlight of this entire match. And it's a guy who doesn't work for the company who's got me going, yeah, okay, this is fun. And we had AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, Austin Theory, Robert Roode, Ridge Holland, Montez Ford, Damian Priest, and Sami Zayn beforehand, and nothing happened. And does it get better? No, it does not. It just keeps getting worse. Omos comes in and he fucking throws out Damian Priest. Damian Priest, who they're putting over as like a big deal, right? US champion, the dual personality, Damian Priest. On Saturdays, he's Damian. On Sundays, he's Priest. And he just tosses him out like he's fucking, Dominic Mysterio. Dominic, in the weeks leading up to this match, he's having promos and little vignettes and little segments with his dad backstage, and he's like, hey, Dad, when we're in the match together, we're going to do such cool things together, you and I. And Ray's like, yeah, son's going to be dope. And he gets eliminated before Ray gets in. What the fuck happened to Rick Boogs? Please tell me, someone, what happened to Rick Boogs? Cut his hair? Where's his guitar? Where's the hair metal scarves? What's going on? What happened to Rick Boogs? Because no one cared in this audience. And look at that. Here's the thing. For the entire, I'd say, I'm looking at the order of entries here that I wrote down in my notebook, my handy dandy notebook. Well, it's like for the first 60% of the match, there's people coming into the ring. No one cares. No one gives a shit in the audience. There's no reactions. There's groans. Riddick Moss comes in. How bad is all of this? And then we start getting the stars. Then we get Drew, who comes in, right? Toward number 20, 19, 20, something like that. Drew, Kevin Owens, Ray, Kofi, Big E. Like the end part of the Rumble is not front loaded, backloaded with all the people you like. They're all there. Randy Orton, if you like him. Bad Bunny. Wait, hang on. First of all, Kofi, right? This is a bad Royal, like there's nothing in this Rumble that is going to save you. When Kofi fucks up his creative elimination avoidance spot, you're fucked. You're like, there's nothing that can save us from this match now. Bad Bunny is in at number 27, and he starts hitting this great stuff. He hits like a destroyer on Riddle, right? And he was the most featured and consequential person up until this point. Up until this point, and he's number 27. He was doing stuff with Rey Mysterio. And that was something that Mysterio was supposed to do with his kid. Not even recent former WWE champion Big E felt special in this match. unceremoniously tossed over. Now, you can make an argument as like, well, because I had heard that Kofi and Big E had some spots planned, right? So you can argue, absolutely, you can argue that Big E, you can argue that Big E didn't necessarily have, that his big spots were taken away and that's why he sort of like disappeared and was lost. But it's Big E. And if you ask me, he will never sniff that title again. He will never sniff that title again moving forward. I want to say hello to Hendrix Makes Content. Welcome to the chat. It's good to know, Hendrix, that you make content. I like these usernames that have a verb in it. You know, it's like, I really do. Like, this is not, I'm not doing a bit. It's not ironic. I'm like, I like it. It's like, so-and-so does this. You know, it's like Warren sniffs glue. That should be my Twitch channel. I should do that. Anyway, so look, all a disaster. And if you want to talk about even more of a disaster, let's talk about Shane McMahon coming at number 28 and of course throwing the most dismal punch. Like it's a meme to the point, to a moment where it's like, it's a meme and it's funny when everything around it is really good. And then you go, well, there's Shane throwing his shitty punches. But when everything is shitty, you don't want to see Shane McMahon throwing his shitty punches. And then things get wild after. Things get like legitimately, because there's been multiple reports around how around the idea that Shane was somehow producing the Royal Rumble and that he was pissing everyone off, and then he's no longer with WWE, right? That's what everyone's saying, right? He's no longer. And I've been trying to follow this story, and there's been so much stuff coming in right and left. Look, I'm gonna big shout out to Sean in the Discord for helping me out on this. I was looking for like a summary that I could walk you guys through in regards to what the hell is going on with Shane McMahon in WWE right now. And Sean found me a transcript from Wade Keller on Pro Wrestling Torch Audio today. I'll read it verbatim, okay? Because it's too wild to even sort of like try to express it. Let me just read it off. It's insane. So, this is Wade Keller. I'm quoting him directly. People in WWE are letting me know that someone should warn Tony Khan what he's in for if he brings Shane in. Of course, this is like, I think it's a meme at this point, right? Because the sense of entitlement, I don't know if ego is the right word, that Shane would bring along with him in a company that isn't WWE would probably be amplified compared to how he was acting on Saturday, which was just basically out of control. Things really unraveled with him and his dad on Saturday. Things were not good, according to what I heard. So listen to this. Still Wade Keller, verbatim, transcript. If you've been listening carefully to me in the last month or two, you would have gotten the impression there was little chance Shane would have been at the Royal Rumble this weekend or in WWE's plans. I was pretty surprised when he showed up, and then there were reports that he was going to be in a storyline that would weave itself all the way to WrestleMania because of what I've been hearing about Shane's status in the company and his relationship with his dad in particular. This was an unexpected sharp increase in disruptiveness in bad ideas on Saturday. From what I'm told directly from people there, he was really self-centered. It was all about him and his ideas, and he didn't get caught up on the plan, on what the plans were for the match. So he's coming in there and is just like, we're going to do whatever I want. He didn't know what was going on TV that was building to certain moments, which to me kind of explains why Dominic was kicked out of the Rumble before Ray got in there. And he just pulled the McMahon card with the match producers wanting things to be done his way, because why else would Shane O'Mac be brought in if not to basically dictate something, a major chapter involving him in the match? And so he did. And it got to the point where there were heated arguments with people who felt that they could push back, and a lot of stress and strife and distractions with everyone else because it was just chaos. There was a plan for the match. Shane was pushing back against producers who were simply trying to follow on what Vince McMahon told them should be done in the match. And Shane just went way overboard. If you look at the people Shane was fighting in the ring during the Rumble, that was his doing. So Shane going into business for himself, letting Kevin Owens punch and kick him and so on, and then Shane recover and eliminate him. That's Shane's booking. I lost my place. Anyway, that's who he wanted to be in the ring with, looking good against. I mean, two of the legit kind of badass guys in WWE, Otis with his background and Riddle with his background, and Shane punched away at them, right? I'm glad that there's like a bit of a consensus where this is insane, but it's really a question of Shane going into business for himself here. Then Kevin Owens super kicked him twice and tried to toss him out, but Shane reversed and tossed him out of the top rope to eliminate him. While all this is going on, Shane is sweating profusely, and this has been a thing for him recently, more than recently, where there's been a concerning level of perspiration. It's almost just like droplets are shooting out of his head and face. Wade giving his analysis on the levels of perspiration. I love it. So when came time to put someone over, Shane was willing to put over. Chat, hang on a second. We're going to take a pause here. My live chat. Who do you think Shane McMahon was willing to put over in this match? Who was he? Who? Let me know in the chat. Drop a name or two. Let me know who you think Shane McMahon was ready and willing to put over in the Royal Rumble match. Who there's 30 guys. It was like, oh, I'll put him over. I'll put this guy over. Who do you think it could be? No, not Jinder Mahal wasn't in the match. An impenetrable wall of glass. No. Anakin got it. Brock Lesnar. Shane's like, I'm good. Shane was willing to put over Brock Lesnar. Sure, I'm okay with that. But the issue with Shane really got to the next level with Vince when it came to what was planned for Raw. And that Shane had real problems with how he was going to be framed as he was going to be in the Elimination Chamber. And so Shane disagreed with what Vince wanted to do and how he wanted to do it. It was laid out to Shane what the plans were, and he did like it, and he didn't like it, and he pushed back, and that led to Vince just finally having enough and canceling all plans with Shane. Everything that they have planned with him. Come on. At this point, it's not clear if he was released from his talent contract or if he was simply sent home. I haven't been able, always still Wade Keller, not WarrenHayes speaking here. I haven't been able to confirm that it's an actual firing because I'm not quite sure what Shane's status is with the company, in the sense that if there's an employee or a relationship that could be canceled in a traditional way, firings happen. But the idea now is, from what I'm hearing, is he is not going to be part of WWE in any way, on or off the camera, for the foreseeable future, which could span a long, long time, like years. It's father, son, it's a family situation, who knows, right? But because this has been festering for a while, and while it's been an issue for a while, this isn't something that just surprised everyone and it came out of nowhere on Saturday. This feeling is that it could really be the last straw, and there could be a level of professional estrangement between Vince and Shane. I haven't found anybody who will defend Shane in terms of how he acted on Saturday. Tell me that isn't the wildest, weirdest, but also most WWE thing. Shane McMahon just coming in saying, this is my Royal Rumble. I'm going to put over the plucky upstart Lesnar, Brock Lesnar, right? Brock is his first name. That's what the kid's name is. That's the guy I'm putting over. He's the future. It's insane to me. Now, the fact that Brock came in at the end at number 30, tossed everyone out and won. We're going to circle back around to the match now. This is my main takeaway from the Royal Rumble. And if you're a frequent listener of the Mr. Warren Hayes show, this is going to be something. This is going to be something that you have heard me talk about. But I think we have actual proof here that what I say isn't necessarily entirely bullshit. Not like 100%, maybe a hefty 70%. There's no mid-card in WWE. This is why this was the most draining, boring ass Royal Rumble that we have seen since 2015, easily. It's one of the worst. Put this one in your top 5. It is bad, boring, dull. And I've told you guys this again multiple times. I think there is nothing worse than a wrestling match being boring. I think it can be bad, because at least when it's bad, maybe so bad it's good. Maybe you can like look back on it and be like, this, what a bad spot. But when it's boring, it's just kills everything. There's nothing happening. I'm just like, I'm devoid of emotion. This is sucking the air out of my lungs. What a shit match this was. Just boring as hell. And the problem is, there's this whole strip of guys that come to the ring and no one cares. There are no reactions. After Johnny Knoxville, we get Angelo Dawkins, Omos. Look, as much as Vince wants Omos to be his new Andre the Giant, his new Brock Lesnar, whatever, his new Braun Strowman, whatever you want to call him, Omos is not over. He is not over.
Yeah.
Ricochet has never get an opportunity to get over. Chad Gable's not over. Dominic, Corbin, Dolph, Rick Boogs, Riddick Moss, Ridge Holland, Bob Roode, Austin Theory. None of these people are over. Because there is no mid-card in WWE. Jesus, fuck. If you had a proper mid-card where you're building guys on the mid-card and eventually someone breaks off to go challenge the champ, and you've seen him on TV racking up these wins and being a great babyface going up against the heel champ, you're like, at least they're heating this guy up, and he goes up and if you have a mid-card of people that are doing interesting stuff, having compelling matches, getting something creative and fun to sink your teeth into, instead of just like always the same crew of 4 to 6 people, week after week after week, people who, unless they are in the immediate title picture, you've got nothing for them. That's not how you build a wrestling company. And we have an example right now on national television of a company who has a proper hot mid-card, that you have people, regardless of whether they have a title or not, whether they're in the title picture or not, whether they're a former world champion or not, that people cheer for, that get up on their feet and are excited to see, excited to hear cut promos. That's a healthy mid-card. WWE doesn't have one of those. And they didn't even have the possibility to go and get some legends or surprise appearances, because most of them are all working for the other guys. Or they just have estranged relationships. Or they're Bill Goldberg, who has one more match on his contract. This is it. This is the glaring issue. It is the disease. It is the symptom of the disease. A bad Royal Rumble is absolutely a symptom of a dead mid-card. I want to say hello to Kristen Ashley, the first lady of the MrWarrenHayes show. Yeah. Didn't take a breath at the right place, and I was choking on my performance. Hello, Kristen. Welcome. Anyway, some people will try to tell you that the Royal Rumble was a good show. It wasn't. It was a mediocre show. It had a strong opener. I think a fair women's Royal Rumble. I think it's the worst. It wasn't terrible, but I think it's the worst one we got so far since they started doing them. And a decent match between Becky Lynch and Doudrop that, if the proper elements had been in place, would have been memorable. People would still be talking about it today. I feel confident about that. Hey, I want to, before we move into AEW, quick little segment that I want to start doing now. Just I have a ticker for those of us who are here live and watching on YouTube. I have a ticker running down here. Oh wait, hang on a second. I have a super chat just before. Yeah, get your shit together, Warren. Here. DGMC left us a super chat. Thank you very much, DGMC. He says WWE's mid card has become the American middle class. Just full of promise and hope, but ultimately just shattered dreams. A little quick segment here. I have a ticker of upcoming live shows, wrestling shows. If you're watching live right now, that runs throughout the entire. I'm trying to keep it up as much as possible, but I figured, I could run down a few matches coming up within the next couple of weeks. Just to wet your whistle, so to be like, oh, okay, well, yes, we know there's big premium live events coming up, but maybe there's other stuff that might tickle your fancy, and let me tickle it for you. No, that's not how I should be saying it. Here's some upcoming cool shows coming up. Tomorrow, February 4th, Beyond is having their Day 91 show. Day 91 meaning it is the 91th day since the release of Biff Busick, the former Oni Lorcan. So he is having his first match back in his old stomping grounds and Beyond versus Slade. This is going to be rough and tumble and slappy dappy. It's going to be great. GCW Club Fight 2. Excuse me. Let me say that again. GCW Fight Club 2. That's where the inflections should be. Again, also tomorrow, headlined by Siddiqa versus Matt Tremont, which is just going to be bloody and savage. An intergender death match, for those of you wondering who these people might be. Siddiqa is insane, and so is Matt Tremont. Prepare yourselves. That's the headline, but there's also going to be on this match Gringo Loco versus ASF versus Mascara Dorada, which is the former Grand Metalik, making his debut since his release, versus Blake Christian. This match is going to rule so hard. On February 5th, we've got Tokyo Joshi Pro Winter in Yokohama show, where we have Miyu Yamashita, who is the current Princess of Princess Champion, taking on Marika Kobashi. Marika is retiring in April. Yokohama is her hometown, so this is likely the last match she will ever wrestle in her hometown. That's on February 5th. By the way, Beyond you can watch on independentwrestling.tv, GCW on Fight TV, Tokyo Joshi Pro, wrestle-universe.com. Pro Wrestling Eve will also be back on Sunday for Slayers in Spandex 2, headlined by Emerson Jane versus Jeddah for the Eve Championship. Emerson Jane, current champion. The return, the reunition. I wanted to say the reunification in the union, and it comes out as reunition. Let's go with that. The reunition of the Medusa Complex, Charlie Evans and Millie McKenzie, who are going to be defending the Eve Tag Team Championships against the Uprising team comprised of Rhea O'Reilly and Sky Smithson. Hyan and is also going to be on this card, fighting Lana Austin, and Laura Di versus Alex Windsor, who Alex Windsor is your favorite wrestler that you haven't been watching. Trust me. That's going to be on the Pro Wrestling Eve YouTube channel. It's in the UK, so it's going to be happening Saturday afternoon for us in North America. Check it out. All you have to do is subscribe to their YouTube channel, and you have direct access for it. So good card. This is a solid Eve card that we've got here. Then GCW again with another show, February 5th. If I Die First, headlined by Joey Janela versus Dr. Wagner Jr. We've also got Gringo Loco versus Psycho Clown on this one. You can watch it on Fight TV. February 10 and 11, we have the 2 nights of Noah Step Forward. I'm not sure if anything's been announced, really. I've been trying. The Wrestle Universe website is very poor at trying to at keeping up on the cards, so it's really hard to follow. Noah Step Forward, February 10 and 11, 2 nights. We can watch it on Wrestle Universe. And Tokyo Joshi Pro having another show. Positive Chain 22 on February 10. It's the finals of the Max Heart Tournament 2 Tag Team Tournament. It's the finals. Bakuretsu Sisters versus Hakuchumu. Got to check that out on Wrestle Universe. And on February 11th, West Coast Pro Wrestling, The Art of Drowning. Lots of great stuff on this card. I'm especially looking forward to Mike Bailey Speedball. Mike Bailey versus ACH. And you've also got a great looking Fatal 4-Way women's match. Kylie Ray, Rachel Ellerings, Masha Slamovich, and Nicole Savoy. Stoked about that one. Hey, look at this. It's Joe Poulin Jr. who's joining us in the chat. Welcome, Joe. I should have called this the Royal Rumble show. But there was just so much ancillary stuff. Like the Lita stuff, like the Shane stuff. Like, you know. Let's go. AEW. Time for the AEW review. You excited? Start with AEW Rampage from last Friday. Jon Moxley defeated Anthony Bowen. Strong match we got here. They go into the crowd early on. Mox hits the his throwing suplex. Bowen's on his end gets a discus elbow and a ripcord neck breaker as well, which was cool. He also gets a superplex and a twisting rope hung neck breaker as well, which was also super cool. But it all comes to an end, of course, with a what's the word I'm looking for? Paradigm shift. I was just being stupid. No, it was great. A fun, strong match to start off the proceedings. Was really good. Here's a match I really like. FTR defeated Big Shotty Lee Johnson and Brock Anderson. This was great and fast-paced. Had a great fast-paced start from the beginning between Cash and Johnson. And then there was a great lockup exchange between Dax and Brock. Johnson with a pair of Tope con Hilos. It just flattens Cash Wheeler on the outside. Just absolutely flattens him. Brock with a gut wrench slam in a fun hot tag that he got. I think the most annoying part of this match, though, was commentary just constantly going, hey, he's like his dad. He's like his dad. And like, we get it. And, you know, I understand, you know, y'all are, you know, Chris Jericho, Taz, you've been around the block. You've wrestled with Arn. You've been around Arn. You know, but at some point, we get it. Brock Anderson looks like his dad, right? We fucking get it. Arn just fucking punches Tully. What a great punch. I know a lot of people talked about it, but Arn really has a great working punch. The stuffed pile driver by FTR gets the win. Good showcase of the young guys in a fantastic, strong pro wrestling match here. Really, like, basics. Like, it's literally Rock and Roll Express, Midnight Express fare here. I dug it. I thought it was great. Just no frills, no nonsense. And I like this pairing of Brock Anderson and Lee Johnson. Brock Anderson, you know, like the muscle, just the enforcer type, right? With Lee being, you know, getting the speed, the high moves, the high flying. Good pairing. I think there's a lot of good to come out of that. I like this match quite a bit. Probably was my favorite match of the night. Jade Cargill successfully defended the TBS title against Julia Hart. Jade hits her tilt-a-whirl backbreaker. And Jade at some point is doing warm-ups in the ring. You know, she's doing push-ups and crunches. And I'm like, you know what? She should do this more. I kind of dug that. I thought that was a good, it fits her. It's good heat. I like it. Julia eats the bitch sickle kick. That's right. I'm going to call it the bitch sickle kick until someone picks it up. And then I'm going to call it the bitch sickle kick even more. She hits the Jada. The match is over. Short enough to protect everyone. I thought this was an extremely well-produced match because I was concerned. I was concerned with Jade and Julia in the same match, both relatively green, you know, not, without all that much experience. I was a little worried, but I think they focused on what they needed to focus on. Short, well-produced. No one was exposed. Well done. In and out. And Dino 210 successfully defended their AEW World Tag Team titles against Private Party. Get a gin and juice straight off the bat, but Jungle Boy kicks out of it. Matt Hardy plants a chair on Luchasaurus's knee, which becomes a problem for a good portion of the match. Jungle Boy hits he does his dive sequence where he hits one dive and a second dive and then a Tope con Hilo, which I will never get bored of. Spot of the night, and one that I still think about today. Just absolutely fantastic stuff, right? Luchasaurus has Jungle Boy on his shoulders, like an electric chair position. Cassidy flies off the top rope, and Jungle Boy catches him into a Spanish fly off, of course, of Luchasaurus' shoulders, which is absolutely fantastic. Just a spot where you're like, did I just see this? And yes, I did. Jungle Boy gets the snare trap locked in, but Mark Quinn gets a shooting star press to break up the hold. JB hits a destroyer on Cassidy, and Dino 210 win. They pick up the win for themselves and are able to continue being champions. Fun little match. I think I enjoyed the other tag team match a lot more than that one. It was good though, like well put together, well fought. Let's see here. I'm going to talk about Dynamite, and we're going to go straight into it. We're going to absolutely 100% dive into this one. MJF versus CM Punk. Just an absolutely fantastic wrestling match. I think it was an absolutely fantastic wrestling match. A great showcase of North American professional wrestling is what it was. That's what it was. And we were joking about in the Discord, we were joking about is like, oh, this has Jerry Lawler Dundee feels, and I'm like, well, not entirely wrong. Because there was something very, 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 very old school about how the setup was approached and how things just like moved forward. Everything just sort of connected. Jeez, Anakin, thank you so much for the super generous super chat. I'll get back to it, but thank you so much. When I talk about that match, I'll make sure to make a note of it. Holy smokes, very generous. You've been very kind tonight, Anakin. Thank you very much. So nice slow build to this. Here's the thing. First part of the match, CM Punk is in control, right? He's the best in the world. He's the guy who's been going around saying, there's the real four pillars are the four pillars of AEW are Jungle Boy, Sammy Guevara, Darby Allin, and Britt Baker. He's like, because MJF, you're not in my league. You're just you're a little shit, and so on and so forth. So this is him showing I'm outclassing you in a wrestling match. He's hitting crossbodies, running bulldogs, right? He hits a Pepsi twist, one of his signature moves, right? And it's like everything's going his way. MJF mounts a comeback. He slaps on a sleeper. God, there's a way to do dusty finishes that is effective. And folks, what we saw last night, as we're recording this, last Wednesday for the rest of us, is an effective way of doing a dusty finish. There's no other way. Sleeper, the sleeper hold is applied. And what's his name? CM Punk passes out. And I'm like, what? They're going with this? This is how they're doing it? And I'm just stunned at this point. And the audience is stunned. And everyone is sort of like, but then Bryce Remsburg sees, the foreign object that was used. He sees it and he's like, wait, hang on a second. You used this MJF to choke out CM Punk, so we're continuing the match. Crowd goes nuts. And this is why it was effective. Discussions were going around. It was like, why wouldn't you just call the DQ? Well, because calling the DQ would be objectively a worse call. It would be an objectively worse call than saying, let's continue the match. That would have been terrible, because then you're like, oh, what a shit way to end this match. So no, the match is not finished. It continues. It lit the crowd. That's how you know this was a good decision, because that audience got right back on its feet and was like, let's go. Let's fucking go. And that was great. So Bryce reverses the call. Like I said, the audience is on its feet. Punk has a flurry of offense here, but MJF, man, he's been working the arms, he's been working the legs, he's picking CM Punk apart, just like he's working the limbs, making sure this guy is just broken for like anything that he has to do, for anything that MJF wants to do, just make sure that he's broken. MJF locks in a cloverleaf and tucks the arm and that cloverleaf just to show, like, he's doing some great limb work. They start striking at each other, but man, at this point it's attrition. And you can, Punk hits he hits a poison Rana And he folds over himself, like just stuff where you're like, these guys are exhausted. I love it. There's chop blocks. There's a Made in Japan by MJF. Shout out to the person on Twitter who called it a mid in Japan, which I burst out in laughter. It was the greatest tweet I saw. Low blow by MJF. Tries to cover, can't get it done. And we get CM Punk doing a Pepsi plunge, which is essentially a pedigree off the turnbuckle. First time in 17 years. Great tombstone reversal spot between the two. Punk drops he does the Randy Savage elbow. Can't put him away. Wardlow comes to the ring. And he sort of confronts CM Punk. They stare at each other, but then he moves away. And you can tell, like the audience are like, oh shit, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? And folks, this is where the Wardlow story has been taking us to this point. Will he? Won't he? I know there's been people like, we need Wardlow to, this is too long. We need him to do the turn now. No, this is why it has never been clear that he had to turn. Because we needed Wardlow at this moment here. We needed Wardlow at this very precise moment where he comes to the ring, he stands in front of Punk, and you're like, what's he going to do? Is it this it? Is he finally going to turn? Oh, it's ambiguous. We're not sure what's going to happen. He moves away. It's like, oh, so everyone's on pins and needles. Is he going to turn on MJF or what's going on? But he doesn't turn on MJF because, as we saw in the replay after, he sneakily passes the diamond ring to MJF, who back in the ring uses it on Punk, punches him across the face. Punk is dead. MJF wins in the most absolute MJF way to win. And what more could you want out of this match? It is the perfect way for scumball MJF to win in CM Punk's hometown. To beat him and then have that in his pocket. I am the guy who beat CM Punk. I'm the first guy to take him out since he came back into wrestling. I broke his winning streak. I'm the guy. I'm unstoppable. You're not wrong. And you see, and we're still not quite does this mean that Wardlow is back on NJF's side, or like what's going on, you know? This is how it all connects. I loved this match so much. I was up out of my seat towards the end. It was just absolutely fantastic stuff. Loved it from head to toe. And I really think this was the right decision. I don't think Punk winning here was the right call. I really don't. And MJF just continues being the slow burn build of being the top guy in the company. Now everyone's instantly going like, oh, he's going to take the belt off of Page. Probably, but they're not going to do it at Revolution. They're not going to do it at this is an all-out level match. This is something that you do all the way over there. They're going to draw this shit out. Why? Because they can. And why? Because they have other contenders for Adam Page in the meantime. They can pull Adam Cole at any given moment, which is probably what's going to happen. Bring Miro back. You've got another challenger right there. Like, that's the thing. You've got people who have been heated up and are ready to go. And that will make sense, most importantly. Great match. If you haven't seen it, I strongly suggest you do. I really and honestly do. Such good stuff. You know what else was good stuff? Nyla Rose versus Ruby Soho. Great match. I loved it. I thought this was a lot of fun. And they go right on it. Like no lockups, nothing. Ruby's like, she tosses her jacket and is like, nah, man, I'm coming for you. But Nyla, she gets in control. And Ruby Soho, her thing is like she has this never say die attitude. She does her best to stay on top of things. That's what she does, right? She goes right after Nyla, but Nyla, it's like I said, she's in control. Samoan drop, gets an armbar in, a DVD. Ruby takes a hell of a buckle whip, right? She gets whipped into the turnbuckles, and Ruby just runs right in and back first. She didn't do a Bret Hart, which is smart. She starts fighting back with some kicks. She gets Nyla on the apron and she lifts Nyla onto her shoulders, and then just like she jumps off the apron and just dumps Nyla behind her on the apron. That was a good spot. But Nyla, right back, not right back up, but she gets back up, spine busts her right on the floor. There's a great rope hung neck breaker by Nyla. Ruby, and here's the thing. And then we get to the finish where Ruby goes for the second rope no future kick, right? Which should be her finisher. I'm arguing that this should be her finisher instead of the regular no future. This has a setup. You sort of get it. So she goes up top and she grabs Ruby's arm, and then she goes for the no future, but then she's supposed to tug Nyla off the ropes, but Nyla holds on to the ropes because that's how Ruby defeated her in the TBS tournament. So she's holding on to the ropes. Ruby does the kick because she's not expecting to be held back. She completely whiffs it, but purposefully, like in the story, right? It's not a botch, but she whiffs the kick. So what does Nyla do? Senton, Beast Bomb, win. Fuck yeah. Continuity, great work. What more do you want? Perfect match. Well, not perfect, but perfectly put together. Good work from both women. Everything made sense. Everything connected. And when I saw the whiff, I was like, you want to bet that the GIF nerds on Twitter are going to be all over it and like, oh, another botch. This is why I tell you. I tell this, out of pure love, out of my heart. Don't judge anything off of a GIF you see on Twitter about a wrestling move, because it's not the story of the match. You are clearly missing something. Sure, you might see a botch at some point. You might see something that looks a little weird, but it's the match and about itself that matters. I remember a couple of months ago, what's his name? Tony D'Angelo on NXT. He drops a guy with a Saito pretty high up on the neck. And people are retweeting it. Oh, D'Angelo, he sucks. He's terrible. I'm like, no. He just threw a high angle Saito, which happens. Could have been an accident. Could have not been an accident. And he was throwing suplexes right and left in the entire match. Like, he was looking good. Little slip up. Maybe it was a little high. Maybe it was meant to be high. I see guys in New Japan getting dropped on their necks constantly with those types of suplexes. I don't see gifs of botches going around. Like, never mind the GIF nerds. Because that's what they are. GIF nerds. The first segment also of the match was really fun. Well, we had the match. We had Brian Kendrick, who was supposed to take on Jon Moxley, but then turns out that, I myself wasn't really aware of everything that, and I don't pretend to know everything about every wrestler, but Brian Kendrick was supposed to take on, recently released from WWE, was supposed to take on Jon Moxley in this match. But it turns out that a lot of unsavory things that Brian Kendrick had said in the past in regards to multiple conspiracy theories just left an extremely bad taste in your mouth. Some horrific stuff that he said. He's a hardcore Holocaust denier, Sandy Hook truther, which absolutely blows my mind. I have no time for that kind of shit. And a 9/11 truther as well. Just a lot of absolute garbage that he had been spewing. He attempted an apology saying these views were not mine. It's like he botched his apology. These views are not mine. We know they're not yours, but you were like you didn't come up with them, but you adhered to those views, despite the fact that they're not your. Like, I adhere to democracy, right? Even though it's not my view, but I will promote democracy because I believe in it. You know what I mean? Anyway, so it was a good call by Tony Khan to do that, to pull him off the show. The question is will he be done with Brian Kendrick? That's what I want to know. Because I know he didn't get the graphic, right? He didn't get the graphic, but we know Tony Khan will sign people without necessarily giving the graphic, or will wait, like, we'll sign someone and then, like, well, you know, like Jake Atlas, right? He's done this a few times, right? I think he did the same thing with Lee Moriarty. Like, he didn't announce the signing, but then he comes out after a match and he shakes his hand and says, "Hey, buddy, would you like a contract?" You know, what did he have that lined up? We don't know, you know. But it was a good call for AEW to separate themselves from him. Anyway, so a fun little match between Jon Moxley and his replacement, Wheeler Yuta. You know, there's Yuta goes for his double springboard drop kick, but Mox does the Samoa Joe walkaway on that one, which was pretty cool. Mox DDTs Yuta on the apron. Then Danhausen with Orange Cassidy, because Danhausen is sort of, I guess, maybe not a friend of the best friends. I don't know how that's going to work out yet. He's there. He distracts Mox. He tries to curse him, but that allows Yuta to dive off the top rope and onto the floor in a great spot. Yuta reverses out of a paradigm shift into an Olympic slam, but Mox is Mox. He gets a sleeper in, hits a Stan Hansen lariat, series of vicious elbows, paradigm shift. Good night, Wheeler. Nice. Thank you for replacing. Thank you for stepping in. You got your ass handed to you. Then after the match, Bryan Danielson pops in. Isn't that cute? He makes a case for him and Mox to fight together, right? Starts talking about, look at these weirdos around the ring. You got, you know, Danhausen, you got a millennial cowboy, you've got a literally dinosaur out there, and you're like, what do we do? Look at us. Why aren't we taking over this place? And I'm like, oh, look at this. Like, I was not this is something that I was not expecting. This is interesting. He says he's not looking for war with Jon Moxley. Instead, he came in peace, looking for a partner. They should be fighting together, he says. They should be running AEW, winning whatever title they want, taking young blood as their students, you know, to create, like someone tweeted onto it, their own Cobra Kai, you know, to mentor the next generation, I guess, of wrestlers. And he name drops Yuta. He name drops Daniel Garcia, Lee Moriarty. I'm like, Yahoo! Like, this guy's speaking my language. He says, Mox, think about it. There's two outcomes to this. There's the improbable one and the probable one. The probable one is John Moxley thinking about it, comes out next week and says, yeah, you know what? I work better alone. And Daniel Bryan gets pissed off and he's like, all right, man, then I'm going to have to take you out. The improbable one is that they do start working together, and then they create like the stable of shooters, right? This like an AEW Diamond Mine kind of thing, you know? Or there's a third scenario where Mox is like, no thanks, D-Bry. I'm gonna do this on my own, and Daniel's gonna be like, well, I tried to get you in on it, but and Danielson already has them all assembled. He's got all his boys together already. You know, because Yuta came into the match against Mox. If you noticed, he wasn't like high-fiving, you know, with Orange Cassidy and Danhausen. He was like all business with it. So maybe. And Yuta's a good heel. He was a heel on the indies while he was independent wrestling champion. So, you know, there's stuff here. I liked it. Interesting, good, fun promo. Bryan Danielson, I think he's like the prototype pro wrestler. He can do it all. He can do it all. Greatest wrestler of our generation, folks. I'm ready to say it. Greatest North American wrestler. How about that? Yeah. We'll keep the debate regional for now. Anakin, yes, coming back to your super chat from earlier. Again, thank you so much, Anakin, for all your super chats tonight. I appreciate it. He says, Yuta leaving best friends has been foreshadowed. Romero not keen on him being a part of Chaos. Trent not caring for him. Statlander putting sleepers on him at every BTE. Might feel best friends don't want him now, and Bryan Danielson wants him. Hey, that's a good observation. You know, it's either one of two things, right? It's either will Yuta's clearly like the little brother, right? At this point, and you know, so the big brothers are sort of like all, you know, they're razzing him, they're, you know, making him, they're hazing him is the word I'm looking for, you know, that kind of thing. And eventually he's going to fit in, right? It's either that's going to happen, or the scenario where Danielson, whether with Mox or not, forms his own stable of students, his Cobra Kai, essentially. You know, it's good stuff. I'm excited about this. Makes a lot of sense to me. Thank you for the super chat, Anakin, once again. What else did we have on the card? Oh, we had the House of Black defeating the Death Triangle versus the Death Triangle. Let's see. No, that's it. The House of Black did defeat the Death Triangle duo of Penta and Pac. Pac was fighting with a blindfold at first. He suddenly became the man without fear for a minute. Brody King hits a big senton. There's tons of strikes by Malachi Black at some point and some speed. And Malachi Black, man, he's so good at pro wrestling. It is absurd. Fantastic. Just the speed, the strength. Pac hits a brainbuster. Penta Pescado's Brody King, and a springboard senton that Penta does off the second rope to the floor. And this is a detail. Like I tell you sometimes, right? It's always in the details. He's not just doing a senton springboarding off the top rope. No, off the second rope. So he has to clear the top rope off his springboard to do his senton. This is fantastic stuff. Penta gets the mist because Rick Knox. House of Black get the win. Fun little match. Forwarding stories. I'm all right with it. Nothing that we'll remember in a month. In a week. Then we had some segments. We had Adam Page calling Archer out. They go at it, setting up the Texas death match. I like this. I thought this was very effective. And I'm excited for this match. Because I think Lance Archer is going to be perfect. He works well in these types of matches. It's going to be great. Adam Page is fantastic. And I think this is leftover WWE brainworm when it comes to how you schedule, like how you place your things. People are already going, oh, I'm sort of, Adam Page is going cold. How is he going cold? He just defeated, he lasted the distance with one of the greatest wrestlers in the world on his first defense, went the distance on the rematch with the same wrestler, was able to defeat him. How can that be cold? Comes in, my next challenger is this guy. Fantastic. Maybe you feel that Lance Archer isn't up for it, isn't up for the task to challenge, but I say, look, you've got Adam Page who just defeated one of the greatest wrestlers in the world, a technical genius, was able to go through. Now we're going to go all down and dirty in a hardcore Texas death match. Let's do it. More layers to Adam Page's repertoire, because we have to discover what Adam Page as a champion is able to do, because we don't know. He's never been a world champion. We've never seen Adam Page in this environment. Right now, he's got a win over Bryan Danielson. He's the only guy in the company who does. Just like MJF has a win over CM Punk. Only guy in the company. Look at what AEW is doing, by the way. The big name stars that they're bringing in to put over the future big name stars. I don't understand. So all I can see is, our WWE reflexes that are kicking in are like, whoa, he's cold now. He's cold. How is he cold? He's had two fantastic defenses. Otherwise, what? You want him every week on TV doing number one contenders matches? Like, make up your minds. And we had Adam Cole saying that he did not lose, right? Well, that his record is still perfect. And he's promising us a new Adam Cole. And then, look, I am not going to waste too much breath on this. I thought the Brandy Rhodes, Dan Lambert segment was trash, but from everyone involved, I thought it was a terrible, terrible segment. I'm usually the guy who's high on Lambert, because I'm like, okay, he stretches it, and but I think he went a little. I think he has to. It's not even shocking talking about your boobs are fake. Who gives a shit? Like, honestly, it's not even like, they are fake. Like, they probably are. And honestly, I don't care. Whatever makes her happy. What does that make her? Because she decided to get a boob job. That's not way it makes her a good or a bad person. You know what I mean? Like, that's not on her character on any level. That's I get it. He's supposed to be old school, misogynistic, so on and so forth, but that's too much. It got really cringe. And then Brandy's responses weren't even all that cutting. Like, her material wasn't good. Her delivery's not good, and she doesn't come across as convincing on any level. The audience, was rabid against her. I don't know if it was real heat or bad or heat, if it was go away heat or, yeah, we're enjoying this heat. I don't know. I thought she was cringe. I thought her delivery was cringe. I think at some point, like, she does not know how to deal with hecklers. But I think she was legitimately mad that people were screaming at her and she was like, let me do my promo. Okay, I'm just going to go on now. And who's the heel? Who's the heel in this situation? Again, Dan Lambert comes out, he's a heel, right? He's supposed to be. He's been healing for weeks. He doesn't like AEW. That instantly makes him a heel, right? You'd think so. Brandy Rhodes comes out, she starts shitting on Chicago. I'm like, it's like, okay, so she's a heel too. What is going on? What am I who am I cheering here? Get the Paige Van Zandt thing coming? And it's like, Paige Van Zandt comes out, yes, great mixed martial artist, has the look, so on and so forth. If they are pushing towards a Brandy Paige Van Zandt match, which they clearly are at this point, I don't know anyone who can take Paige Van Zandt. I don't know who can take Brandy seriously having a chance against Paige Van Zandt. Because Van Zandt is a badass, a legitimate true to form fighter who can pick you apart. Brandy is not. She's not even all that great a pro wrestler. So this is ill-advised. There would be much more capable, interesting women on their roster. I can think of 2 of them straight off the top of my head. They're going to be having a match on Rampage this Friday, who would be much better suited for Paige Van Zandt's wrestling debut or whatever they want to do with her. No one is going to take Brandy Rhodes seriously in this match as a contender. And if they put Brandy Rhodes over, it's going to be ridiculous. Anakin left us a super chat. Thank you very much, Anakin. I'm glad you brought it up. He says, the Josh Alexander line popped me. But is it? Is it that much of a gotcha? I don't think it popped me too at first, but then when I think about it, I'm like, wait a second. We're using Ethan Page. Where's the gotcha here? We hired you, Ethan, so that we could get to the better guy who we've never hired. And we had a direct open door, a forbidden door open with the company he works for, and we still didn't use him. Like, I failed to see, like, I don't think it's the gotcha that it was intended to be, because Ethan Page is the guy who got hired regardless by AEW. It didn't connect for me. Brandy the thing here is she's unlikable, and she's leaning into her unlikableness. That's one thing. But everything she has done in AEW from the get-go, from the Nightmare family, the Nightmare Collective, that's what it was called. Everything she has done has been cringe. It's been bad. They've pivoted. They've changed it. They've done other things with her. Everything has been bad. And I don't know why suddenly they're thinking that this is going to be good. And someone has to write better material for Brandy, or she has to have someone write better material for her, because I wouldn't be surprised that she laid out this promo. I wouldn't be surprised at all. She'd be like, okay, and you're going to make an insult about my tits and whatnot. And it's like, but it's all cringe. It's not fun. Dan Lambert can get much better heat in much different ways. It's low-hanging fruit. It's kind of dumb. Doesn't get me. Makes me uncomfortable. I think it's stupid. They should move on. Just like I'm moving on from the weekly wrestling inspection. Oh, we had a good time. Didn't we have a good time? I like to think we had a good time this week, because I had a good time. I hope you guys had a good time too. Lots of Royal Rumble talk, but like I said, what are you going to do? Hey, be sure, members, to stick around, because as soon as we're done here, Well, a few minutes from now, I'm going to go wash my face, make myself all pretty for the members of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel, because I'm going to start the post show. It's not a pre-show anymore. It's the post show that I'm going to be starting up with all of yous, and it's going to be fun. We're going to be talking about matches that you really liked in January. See? Positive vibes. That's what we're all about here. But I want to thank all of you for taking the time to join us here live. I really appreciate that. If you're watching on demand or listening on your favorite podcast, leave a like, leave a review, leave a subscription, whatever. Did I work hard enough for your subscription? Fingers crossed. I'd really like to get it. But thank you, and thank you regardless. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a friend up and down the road and back again. Your heart is true, and I'm a confidant.